Thank you everyone for joining this workshop today. My name is Amanda Lopez. I currently serve as a program manager with Easter Seals Florida, where I oversee support groups that we facilitate in Hillsborough County. Our support groups are going to typically cover exactly what we're going to review today, but it's definitely in a lot more detail. It's a 14-week program meeting once a week for 2 hours. And of course, today I only have 1 hour. So I won't be able to go over every little detail, all the different ways to approach the many dynamics and abilities that come with children. But hopefully I'm able to review each concept in enough detail that you're able to take the foundation and fit it into your specific family dynamics, your goals, your child's abilities, et cetera, et cetera. So by a show of hands, how many of you struggle with finding the time to play with your child or children? Yeah. How many of you struggle with how to play with your child or children? Yeah. Maybe you find it awkward. Maybe you find yourself losing patience during that play. That is all normal. This is going to be a judgment-free zone, but we're going to keep it real, okay? So as you can see, a lot of people feel that same way, and maybe that's why you're here today. So there is a belief that children learn to play with their peers, and they don't need adults to participate in their activities. And then you have some of us who feel uncomfortable, we're embarrassed, we don't know how to play, we don't know what to say, we can't get into our imaginary world to play. Some of us have difficulty finding the time, making time in our daily life to play. We're too tired, or maybe it's boring to play what they want to play, right? It's not like our thing. There is so many things that keep us from playing and finding that connection, and of course, no fault of our own. Like we said, judgment-free zone. We're going to keep it real. We are adults. We're past that, right? We have responsibilities. We know the rules to the game. We're structured. Maybe we're a little rigid at times. We are past the point of having an imagination and being able to let loose and have fun. We had to grow up, and that's life. But keeping it real, if you think about how we grew up, a lot of us did not play with our parents. We weren't on the floor playing with our parents. We didn't have choices, right? You do what you're told. We didn't speak about our feelings. Suck it up, right? We didn't have these opportunities, and as adults, we're struggling with our mental health. We know that we want to raise the next generation differently, and so that's why we're here today. What we're going to learn is that playing with children is one of the most important ways of helping them to achieve their developmental milestones. Of course, there's no manual, but the same way that we teach children how to walk, how to brush their teeth, how to feed themselves, dress themselves, is the same way that we teach them how to build their social and emotional skills. So if you think about it, what did we do for those development milestones? We did it over and over and over again. And we modeled it, and eventually they were able to do it on their own, right? So same concept. That is how we're going to teach them. But why play? Why is play important? Playing is natural for kids. Children will spontaneously play. Their instinct is to discover, but when we connect with them on this level, we're able to support their development and what that looks like. So what happens when children don't have someone to teach them how to play effectively? Think about it. Children are little, they don't know cooperation. They start out, right? We all start out playing side by side, that parallel play. They don't typically interact with others. They're not aware of rules of cooperation and social skills, manners. We don't come out of the womb knowing these things. It will come with time, but be mindful they're observing, and they will mimic and they imitate others. And it's not just other children, it's also adults. So parents, family members, teachers, they're watching and they're learning, and this is how they're learning how the world works. The way we teach and encourage them on how to interact with others translates to other areas of their life. Playing provides children many opportunities to develop their independence and learn what they can do by themselves. It helps to strengthen bonds and attachments with others, helps them to develop those persistent skills. Sometimes play is difficult. The tower keeps falling, it's so hard, right? So developing that persistence and self-regulation Increasing their vocabulary, developing those social and emotional skills, and problem solving. The list goes on and on. Play offers all of these opportunities. So when we say meet your child where they're at, get into their world. Use play to help with these skills. And because they learn by observation, it's important that we're modeling those positive behaviors. So thinking about your specific child, your family dynamics, how are you modeling social and emotional skills? The time that you spend with them, what does that look like? Again, judgment free, but we're going to keep it real. Do you find that you give a lot of instructions? Do this, do that. What color is this? What color is that? What does the bird say? What does this say? Right? Maybe, again, we're struggling. You get frustrated. There's a lot of yelling in the home. It happens. In your attempt to provide support, could it come across as judgmental or critical? Sometimes. Maybe you're completely detached from them. You're in one room, they're in another, and that's how you spend your days. How do you observe their interactions with others? Do they have these opportunities to interact with others for you to observe? Maybe even observing the way they play games. Do you find time to connect and give them your undivided attention? In what ways are you demonstrating positive behaviors, and how are you modeling social and emotional skills? Our role as caregivers to help children develop these skills, we'll go over this as we go through the different concepts. We want to make sure we're always modeling, we're prompting, we're practicing, and we're praising. Now, I keep saying play, but what I mean is play that is child-directed play. So what is that? We're observing, we're modeling, and we're encouraging them. In our observation, we're following the child's lead and engaging with them in a positive way. We're not giving them excessive commands or instructions while playing. We're allowing them to take charge of the play. So if the cow wants to fly, then the cow's going to fly. This is not the time to control their imagination. Through this, we then begin to see how much of their play is reflective of their imaginary world and their interests, so we get to know them a little bit more. And you'll begin to see that as we're doing this, they start to become more confident. They're more involved. They're more interested and creative in the game. Children can't really control much in their world, so this allows them to have some type of an ownership and be in charge. And kids like to be in charge. When we're modeling the social and emotional skills, which we'll dive deeper into, but with child-directed play, we're being patient and we're letting them play at their pace. We know that children need to rehearse and practice an activity many times to master it and feel confident about their abilities. So our role is to be supportive and patient with that progress. Sometimes we're really quick to go in and fix things and just put the piece where it goes, and I can do this quicker and faster and better. But we're not giving them opportunities for that critical thinking. Or maybe they didn't want the piece to go there. They want it to be silly and creative. Right? So child-directed play gives us the opportunity to be a role model on what it looks like to play with others and be supportive of one another. Encouraging them to use their imagination means being an appreciative audience. Give them your undivided focused attention and encourage their ideas and creativity. Being an appreciative audience is to observe, enjoy, and pay attention to the positive behaviors they're showing and praising them. Always praising positive, creative ideas in our feedback, and descriptive commenting. So that's describing and appreciating what they're doing. So even if you have a child who doesn't necessarily want to engage in that reciprocal play, and they're still in that parallel stage, or they just don't want to play with you, that's okay. You can still be an appreciative audience. You can still use that descriptive commenting. You can still provide that positive feedback and praising them. Children want attention, and we don't want the play to end in a tantrum, so the attention needs to match the positive behavior. Always engaging with them and offering that positive feedback. Kids are going to pull your attention either way. So it's up to us to ensure that we're giving our attention to the positive behavior so it will happen more frequently. If they don't receive positive attention or feedback for their good behavior, we know we're going to get the negative and inappropriate behaviors. They're going to find a way to get your attention. Sometimes we see children playing quietly and we sneak off and we're like, this is our time to go cook dinner, go do the chores, right? But how do they know that that's the behavior we're looking for. Even if you're busy cooking, that's still an opportunity to acknowledge and praise them. Thank you so much for playing quietly. If we consistently make time for child-directed play and praising them, they'll feel more secure, and eventually they will start to play on their own and become more independent. So think about it as adults. You want the praise and encouragement when you're on the right track, right? Do you only want to be addressed when you do something wrong? No. You want that positive feedback from your partner, from your boss, from whoever you have a relationship with, to know that, okay, I'm doing this right, I'm doing a good job. So we're going to do a simple role play with our building blocks here. I'll need an adult caregiver to volunteer. It's really simple, I promise. What's your name?
Joanna.
Joanna. All right. How old is your child?
5.
5. Do you want to act as your child, or do you want to do a different age?
I have a 5 and a 7-year-old,
Okay.
so somewhere in between.
All right, cool. So I want you to just, we've got blocks. We're going to play. You can play as your child or whatever age you want to role play with. Ooh, you've got the pink and the green. Here, let me play here too. Oh, you got to share. We have to share. Make sure you're sharing. Let me add this here.
No, I don't want that one.
But you're not sharing.
But I want pink.
You can have the pink, but you have to share. All right, we can stop. We can stop. How was that?
Good.
How was that? A little controlling,
A little.
right?
But yeah, that my kid wants to play how he wants.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when I try going to him and go, I'm like, what are you doing? Sometimes he goes like, I'm playing by myself.
Right. Yeah, that's
I'm
okay.
Like, okay.
Right to self-determination.
Yeah, but I do try to play a lot with
Yeah. So a little controlling, and sometimes we do that where they're like, no, you can't do that. We have to do this, and we start to insert ourselves, right? That happens.
Maybe that's why he doesn't want me to play with him.
That happens a lot.
I'm gonna change the dynamic of his
Yeah.
game, and he doesn't want that.
So is that building imagination? Was I allowing you to use your imagination and build what you wanted to build?
No.
Was I allowing you to build your independence skills? Use some critical thinking, right? So we do this a lot. Stay right here. So we do this a lot, and it happens in a lot of other activities as well. We're controlling what they're doing, and we're not allowing them to grow into their independence and build those critical thinking skills, okay? We are, again, judgment-free, but keeping it real. We're stifling their growth by indirectly telling them that how they're doing things isn't good enough, right? So if I kept doing that, would you want to keep playing with me?
No.
Probably not. It's not fun, right? It's not fun. So me wanting to like make it perfect or do what I want it to do, it's like it as if it was my play, right? Is now going to make you frustrated, and it's not fun. So another example, what if you were playing and I was over here on my phone, maybe I was paying bills. That's important to do, right? They don't know that we're paying bills, nor do they care, right? But do you think that your child would do something to get your attention, get my attention?
Yeah, I think my
Right?
kid would definitely ask or start asking questions or
Yep.
say something.
Yep, mommy, start whining, maybe might throw a block or two, right? So we have to think about how are you being an appreciative audience when you're spending time with that child, and we're gonna do this again. So I kind of started out doing it, and then I realized my role. Oh, you've got a lot of blocks in that one.
Yes,
Nice, we've got all the pink. I know pink is your favorite color, you said.
it is.
Love that. Ooh, we've got some white. Nice. Ooh, thank you for sharing. Let's see, what other colors? We're gonna
This
do,
is the mommy and this is the dad.
oh, I love that. Maybe,
You want to put babies in
maybe,
the bag?
I was just thinking that. Maybe we can do on this side
And on this side.
and the other side. Perfect. Ooh, and I love how the yellow matches. I love the different sizes we have here too. We've got a tall one and then a little one. We've got all these different colors. Pink and yellow. Oh, the garage. Is this where the car goes into the garage?
Yeah.
Love it. Not
Like
yet.
McDonald's.
It's not ready yet. Oh yeah, I love McDonald's. All right. How was that? A lot better.
Yeah.
A lot better. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I just had a session with my kid of 2 hours of him playing taxi. And me telling him what passengers he had to take to 10 different locations of the house. Good job.
Lot better. Would you want to keep playing? That was kind of fun. Right? So we had some imagination. It was a mommy and a daddy and some kids, and that was a garage. Sure, right? We're not going to say, oh, well, the car can't go in there, so that can't be a garage, right? That's their imagination. She had some independence. She was able to build on her own, some critical thinking. She was able to figure out what a garage would look like in her mind, right? So our emotions and reactions show that we appreciate and we value their work. Our facial expressions, our emotions, our presence means a lot to them, and it shows that you care. So another example, what about if they came and they drew you a picture? Do we find ourselves asking questions about the picture? Yeah, it's natural, right? It's so hard. But take this into perspective. If you ask them if the animal that they drew was a cow and it ended up being a dog, how do you think that child feels? Right? So think about perspective. And again, they're emotionally and socially immature, rightfully so. So think about that perspective. There is a difference too with open-ended versus interview style. So sometimes we're, what color is this? What color is that? What does this animal say? What does that animal say? It's overwhelming. It's a lot. So instead, we can encourage them to tell you about the picture. Oh my God, this is so pretty. Tell me what you drew. Tell me about this picture. Appreciate the art by pointing out the colors of their creativity. So if they're nonverbal, you can still point out the colors and how creative they were in their drawing. Children will be more excited to be the expert of their art and tell you about it than to be told that their dog looks like a cow and they did it wrong. Right? It happens. I've seen it. So we're letting them lead the play. We're being an appreciative audience. Do you see how we're modeling appropriate social skills through this type of engagement? We're modeling kind words. We're getting to know each other through curious dialogue. We're giving compliments. We're being appreciative of their imagination. So again, like every other stage in their development, social skills need to be modeled, prompted, repeated, supported, and encouraged with a lot of patience, a lot of love, and a lot of attention. Young children don't know how to interact with others because, again, they are rightfully so socially and emotionally immature. They are exploring, and they want everything for them right away, right? Again, they don't come out of the womb knowing manners and social rules, so these skills need to be taught. And because children learn mostly, again, through observation and imitation, it is our responsibility to model those positive interactions and appropriate social skills. So think about where your child is at. Do they make friends easily? Maybe they make friends too easily. Maybe they're too trusting. Do they know how to deal with angry or aggressive situations? Not every kid on the playground is nice, right? Are they able to control their impulses? And with that in mind, you have a guide now on what needs to be modeled, what needs to be prompted, and what needs to be supported. Now, play does not necessarily mean it has to be with toys. When we look up the definition of play, it simply means engaging in an activity for enjoyment. So that means that anything can be fun, and most things can be child-directed if we structure it that way. Social skills are present in our daily lives. We use them constantly. During meal times, bath times, at the grocery store, driving, right? During family and school activities, and we may not give them the importance that they have. Within all of these activities, they can still make choices, right? They can still be involved, they can still use their imagination, but also these are opportunities that we're modeling those positive social behaviors. As we said, children are always observing and imitating us. So we want the positive social skills because they help build positive friendship skills, how to be a good friend, how to be supportive of other people, how to self-regulate appropriate behaviors. They learn how to express themselves, and it helps strengthen those attachments with other people. So playtimes are teachable moments to reinforce positive behaviors Without it, children will not know how to handle different situations, or they may have the wrong idea of what an appropriate response or behavior may be. So children need to learn how to engage with others, how to initiate a conversation, how to ask a question, right? So during play, find those opportunities and focus on the appropriate behaviors that they're doing. Reinforce their skills of being persistent at a task, how they problem solve through a game or through that play, their expression of feelings, their cooperation, their motivation. Highlight those items during your play and in everyday activities. When we're modeling appropriate social behaviors, we're looking at skills like greeting others, using polite words to ask for things, please, thank you, excuse me, listening, waiting patiently, sharing, taking turns, right? All of those things. When we model, we're demonstrating with actions the behaviors that are appropriate. So remember, they're observing, they're imitating, they're looking to their environment to show them what they should be doing. Throughout the day and through play, prompt the appropriate social behaviors, and that includes entering the play, right? So I just came in and was just going to take it for myself. Maybe how do they introduce themselves? Making friends, asking for help, offering an idea, asking for a turn. Those are all appropriate social behaviors. Now, during the interactions, we're vocalizing, we're modeling, we're prompting, but they're still learning, right? And they need a lot of practice. So we shouldn't force them to do it immediately. Like we said, they need practice. We want to work at their pace. So if they don't say it or if they don't do it, that's okay. Be consistent with repeating the action every time you have the chance. Always model that patience and respect, not only to other people, but also to them. Our kids deserve our respect as well, especially in those moments. Here, I'm going to go back to that one, but here's some examples you can use when you have the opportunity. I can wait and be patient. So sometimes we're like at the grocery store and we're like, oh God, it's line. And we don't say anything, right? So putting a name to it and modeling that behavior. We can do it together. So if they want or someone else wants to help you with something, model it and put a name to teamwork. Show them what that looks like. Can I help you build that? Rather than jumping right in. And they may tell you no. And that's okay. If you don't want someone to help you with something, you can say no as well. Are you modeling respectful behaviors through polite conversations, giving compliments? Thank you for sharing. Thank you for waiting your turn. Thank you for helping me cook, right? Be mindful of those little moments throughout the day. We have to verbalize a lot of what we're doing to show them what it is and bring putting a language to it. So practice and encourage greetings and introductions. Whether you're playing one-on-one or if there's other children involved, encourage them to introduce themselves. Shake hands, greet one another, help them understand the basics of social interaction. The best practice, of course, will be with others, so we'll need to offer chances and opportunities for them to play with peers or siblings, allowing them to practice initiating conversations, sharing, engaging in that reciprocal play. Praise and reinforce positive behaviors. Give attention and compliments anytime you notice inappropriate behavior. Every time you notice inappropriate behavior. And of course, remember to use those social and emotional comments, that language, to give more attention to that behavior, to reinforce it, right? Put a name to the behavior and the emotions. Now, be mindful this might be different for each child depending on their developmental ability and temperament style. A child's development is a work in progress. So that's why it's important that we just keep modeling those appropriate skills in any possible scenario. Be consistent. Now, let's make the connection with emotional skills. When children learn to recognize and label different emotions, they become more self-aware of their feelings, and they may even start to recognize feelings in others, right? Developing that empathy. Developing emotional skills is important for them to be able to identify the different feelings throughout the day. We go through tons of different feelings throughout the day. They need to understand that it's okay to feel them. Learning to express their feelings and needs without fear of being judged or criticized. Learn to manage their emotions in a healthy way. and develop those self-regulation skills. And again, that secure attachment with others. And our role as caregivers is, again, the same thing. We're modeling, we're prompting, we're practicing. Praise, 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 praise. Lots of praise. Create a safe space for feelings through role plays and pretend play by letting children express a wide range of emotions. Not just the basic emotions, teach them those complex ones as well without judgment. Most kids know happy, mad, sad. There's so much more. So what do I do when I start feeling anxious? I only know mad, so that may be how it acts out, right? So teaching them there's frustrated and proud and surprised and anxious, and there's so many different emotions out there. So teaching them all those in a safe space. An example could be setting up scenarios like playing house or school, where they can take on different roles and practice expressing those emotions. Like, again, feeling proud. How can we act out feeling proud? Feeling scared. Doing it in a safe space that will encourage learning and growth allows them to safely express different emotions and learn what that looks like. Then, as we're acting out different emotions, model that vocabulary. Again, put a name to it. Try to label as many feelings as you can. And again, this can be done throughout the day as well. It doesn't have to be just in play. Using words like happy, angry, surprised, sad during those activities helps them to identify and label their emotions. Normalize the different feelings that occur throughout the day. When they expand their emotional vocabulary, they'll be able not only to recognize their emotions, but also to respond to feelings in others. We've seen kids go to their parents and say, "Mom, you look really frustrated. You should take some deep breaths." They hold us accountable, right? Yeah. When we talk about others, model that empathetic behavior and what it looks like. Modeling the behavior when they're upset will help strengthen their ability to self-regulate and develop a healthy relationship with others. So likewise, reinforce when they show concern or react to others' feelings. You can use phrases like, "That was so kind of you to help your friend," right? They were able to notice that someone else needed help. Praise that. Now, in cases where the child is dysregulated and their anger or frustration has escalated, we need to model that self-regulation. Like I said, we're all struggling, and it's okay. But as adults, we need space when we get to that level, right? So same thing with children. Sometimes it's better to back off and give them a space to calm down while you maintain that patience and staying calm. Once everyone is able to reconvene and discuss the issue, then you can get into problem solving. But we don't want to fall into a power struggle where everyone is escalated and there's no problem solving. Also, as humans, it doesn't feel good when you're overstimulated and someone's adding to it, right? But we do that to our kids. So providing that space to calm down is a very effective tool. Other children may need that extra support, but it's important that we're still modeling that self-regulation as you're providing that support. Sometimes it's just your presence or a little reassurance. Every situation is different, but the goal here is to not add to the heightened emotions. With modeling, you can also create structured opportunities for emotional regulation when they are calm and playing normally. This can be, again, introducing those challenges, those scenarios into the play. Introduce challenges in the play that may require them to regulate, like fixing a problem in a game, or maybe the tower keeps falling. Then when they show patience, when they're showing that self-regulation, when they're showing their persistent skills, when they're waiting their turn, acknowledge those efforts, put a name to it. You were being so patient. You did a great job waiting for your turn, right? Praise, praise, praise. Attention to the positive behaviors that we want. We often have missed opportunities to praise and encourage certain behaviors. Sometimes we overlook them and we don't notice it. And sometimes, especially in this day and age, many children are spending more time playing games on their tablets, phones, computers, and the unlimited screen time can prevent them from practicing these social and emotional interactions in a constructive and effective way. So remember, building brain muscles requires practice and time, patience to get stronger and feel more confident. So be aware and be consistent. So here we have Wally and Molly. We use multiple puppets in our child groups to help facilitate discussion in different topics. Wally and Molly are siblings, and they often have lots of problems that they bring to the kids to help them solve. Like typical siblings, they have lots of arguments. So let's see what we have today. There we go. You're good.
Wait! I brought my own crayon. Oh, well, I don't... Molly! I'm so tired that you always do this with me. I didn't want any help. Oh, man. Looking back at that scenario, I'm not sure if that was the best solution. Maybe I could try apologizing because I made her cry. Oh, I know. Maybe I can ask her to maybe stop and just let me color instead of just yelling at her. Or I can ask her to join me. There's so many solutions for me to use. Let me see what I can try and do next. Oh, man. Oh, man, Molly. Listen. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled at you like that. It was not the good solution to do. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe I should have asked before I colored on your paper too.
Oh, that's another good solution.
I'm sorry too.
Oh, man. Well, thank you for apologizing. Wait, you know what?
What?
I think we can do this together.
Yeah, let's do it.
Can I have a hug?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's do it together.
Let's do it. Wow. Pretty.
Oh, love Wally and Molly. So do we see how Wally was very connected to how he was feeling, and he also considered how Molly was feeling too. So he was able to connect that problem to emotional well-being. And there was also some social skills. We talked about that entering the play, right? So you see Wally had a lot of solutions he could have tried other than yelling at her. Yelling is a solution, okay? But there are 3 things we want to review when we're thinking about a good or appropriate solution. Is it safe? Is it fair? And does it lead to good feelings? So yes, yelling is an option, but does it meet those 3 things? No. Okay, so what else can we do, right? And we run through those critical thinking skills to help children think through a problem and a solution and choose the best one. There will be many situations that you're not going to be around for. So it's important that we're equipping them with the right tools to navigate these situations on their own. And we work with kids down to 3 years old, and they come up with some really creative solutions. You'll be surprised what happens when you give kids the opportunity. So how do children usually react to their problems or negative emotions? Some tantrums, some complaining, some hitting, some arguing, grabbing, yelling, maybe aggressive behaviors. They're biting, they're spitting, right? Modeling those appropriate social skills and emotional regulation will lead to problem-solving skills. So they all work together and are an essential teaching tool for children. So what does that look like for your child and your family dynamics? What are the social skills that can be enhanced? And how can that be modeled and prompted both during play and in your daily life? Can you label the skills and emotions more? Can you provide more opportunities to practice? All things to think about. With all of that, it's important to understand that every child has a particular temperament or needs. We don't have to change or fix our children. We just need to understand them, support them, and respect them. So don't blame yourself or your child if they're a little bit different. They just learn in different ways, and we all do. So you want to identify, that just moved on its own. You want to identify your child's learning style and maybe your own. We all learn in different or in multiple ways, right? There are different methods of learning and understanding new information. The way a person takes it, they understand it, how they express it, how they remember the information, right? We're all different. Some children are more visual, some are auditory, some like to read and write the information, some need hands-on. And you may be the complete opposite, and sometimes that's where we start butting heads because we're completely opposite in that way. So it's important to recognize that. So what are their interests? Do they like to read, play with blocks, cars, puzzles, dolls? Are they more active? They like to jump, run, do sports. And again, this can be different than your own interests, but if we're meeting our children where they're at, we have to take time to observe how they play, listen to them, be open to their ideas, provide them with opportunities and choices. Knowing all of this, then you can plan ahead and set your child up for success because you know what that outcome is going to be for whatever the situation is. When planning activities, try to consider their interests, consider their learning style and their temperament. And that's important because if you know that your child is a little bit more intense, then you know that you need to have more tolerant, patient, and calm activities, right? If your child is distractible, then we have to make sure we're providing clear instructions, simple tasks, and removing any distractions. We set the outcome, so know your child and prepare for that outcome. Again, every child is different, so never compare children. It's important to recognize that some children are just not developmentally ready to apply the social or emotional skills the way that you want them, right? The way that you expect it. Meet them where they're at. Some children are more impulsive and inattentive than others, and they need more coaching, more modeling, more redirection, more patience, support. You always want to redirect them without losing control and try to provide a lot of praise, love, and encouragement for the positive behaviors. Again, matching that attention to the behavior. So you can find on your table, and it's also in the app, there's a temperament style questionnaire that you can do to learn more about your child's temperament style. And there's also one for yourself. That allows you to focus on their specific needs, figure out where those gaps are. So be honest with your responses. Try to be realistic about your expectations for your children. Now, of course, we all sometimes, again, we're struggling. Judgment-free zone. We all sometimes have upsetting thoughts. We have moments of frustration. We have anger. We have guilt when we're facing problems, and even more when we're dealing with our children's conflicts, and that's normal. Believe it or not, these moments, though, are beneficial to us. They provide us a chance to apply our problem-solving skills and to evaluate the strategies we use in every situation to solve them. Sometimes we just act by instinct or impulsiveness. We don't take a moment to think and analyze a constructive way to respond to a problem that provides us with positive outcomes, right? So instead, we find ourselves we're creating a bigger problem, or worse, we're losing control of our anger and negative feelings. So think about, how do you feel and how do you behave when something triggers you? How can you help your children solve their problems in a successful way? And regardless of the end result, whether it's successful or not, what can be learned from the outcome? Okay. So what if I said, we're done. Thank you for joining me for this 1-hour workshop. It was great. Thank you guys for coming. Yeah. That's what we do with our kids. That's what we do. If I just ended this presentation, no context, it's abrupt, it was incomplete, maybe you wanted to learn more about ending play, you're not satisfied, right? And we do that with our kids. When we say, all right, it's time to clean up, come on, hurry up, we gotta go, right? It can feel very abrupt, they didn't get to finish. What if you were in the middle of a work project and then your computer shuts off? Wow, that's frustrating. So you can understand why those tantrums happen, right? So how can you transition them from the end of playtime to another activity, and what happens when they're upset about the play ending? We have a lot of responsibilities. We as adults are overwhelmed, we're exhausted, we're stressed, we're tired. It's the end of the day. We don't really have a lot of time to play for hours and hours and hours, and they're pushing our buttons and they're demanding our attention, right? And then you're asking yourself, okay, well, how can I teach them that we're going to play for just a specific period of time, and they sometimes are going to have to play by themselves, right? What if they start misbehaving to get my attention? When your child enjoys playing with you, it's normal that they will start to seek more attention and time from you. They like playing with you. So if you're achieving your daily goal, you're giving them their undivided attention during play, throughout the day, don't feel guilty when you need to do adult things. Dinner has to be cooked, right? But to make it easier for everyone, it's always good to make predictable transitions and prepare your child for that transition. You can use a timer, a song, a bell, whatever works for you. What we don't realize is that transitions happen throughout the day, and everything is a transition. So we need to make sure that we're establishing those routines. When they get up, when they get ready for school, when they get home from school, when they get ready for bedtime, bath time, everything is a transition, and that can be a lot if it's abrupt, right? So establishing those routines, knowing what that looks like throughout the day, explaining it, role modeling, practicing it with them. Set your rules, stay firm, make sure they understand that all family members in this household have roles. We all have a role, we all have roles. They will test your limits. So again, matching the positive attention to the positive behavior. We're ignoring protests or tantrums. We're not getting into a power struggle with them. We're not arguing with them. Make that eye contact, be firm, explain the rules again, and this is what it is. But again, when you're using that ignore, there's a whole lot of positive that you want it to follow. So praise, 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 praise. Even if they had that tantrum, but then they went and threw that piece of paper away, that is the time that you are giving that positive attention back to them. Acknowledge and celebrate their accomplishments throughout the day and even during the play. So ending the play, you did so good playing. Thank you for playing with me. I had a lot of fun. We have 5 more minutes and then I have to start making dinner. So in 5 minutes, we're going to clean up and you can help me with dinner, or you can go play with your toys in the bath, or whatever it is that you've set up as the routine. But something for them to look forward to. And of course, remind them that your time to play is up, but that it's not forever ending. They love to spend that time with you. So do we get to play again after dinner? Do we play tomorrow? Right? Let them know what to expect. Overall, have boundaries. Set the parameters that are appropriate for your household, but have fun. Kids want to have fun. Get to know your kids, their interests, engage with them, find time to give them your undivided attention. Be mindful of those positive behaviors and praise, 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 praise. Give them lots of positive attention. They won't need that negative attention. And you're also guiding them on what's appropriate. Our children are amazing beings in whatever milestone that they're in. And so we need to meet them where they're at and find those opportunities to build those skills that they'll need as they develop. You are all doing an amazing job as parents, as caregivers, even just by being here to learn more about how to support your child. So let loose, have fun, and of course, self-care. Always take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.